Have you noticed how we are taught to avoid the most challenging emotions from an early age? It seems that anything that is deeply felt is harmful, whether it be discomfort, despair, or even tremendous delight. But what if letting, rather than avoiding, is the key? Why is it that we have such a strong desire to avoid unpleasant feelings? And is it possible to confront them without giving up? Embracing your emotions, even if they are painful, may hold the key to the solution. Emotional volunteering is a skill that has the power to transform everything. I would like to suggest an experiment to you today. It may push you beyond your comfort zone, but it's not harmful. The concept is straightforward. We'll hold your breath to mimic a minor discomfort and watch how you respond when it materializes. Set an alarm, pause this video, hold your breath as long as you can, record the time, get a stopwatch, and return later. The purpose of this exercise is to learn how to be present with difficult feelings without avoiding them. It is not a physical test. The willingness to stay with what is within of you without resistance or flight is what volunteering is all about. Even though it's uncomfortable, it's a soft opening to feel what's here. Let's apply a method from psychologist Stephen Hayes' book, Get Out of Your Mind and Into Your Life, to further explore this idea. People who attempt to repress painful emotions end up having less self-control, according to studies. Anger, guilt, and addictions can result from emotional escape. Those who practice being present with their feelings, on the other hand, gain emotional strength that changes how they relate to their own body and mind. It's a long-term, effective practice. Volunteering teaches you to remain calm in the face of chaos, whereas avoidance ignores the issue. The voice of emotional avoidance is crucial. She criticizes your feelings, saying, "That's bad. That's awful. This isn't how I should feel." However, volunteering conveys a whole different message. I can feel it and still decide how to behave. Volunteering encourages you to get closer and watch with curiosity, whereas avoidance seeks to avoid at all costs. She does not label, she does not flee, and she does not judge. She merely makes notes. Similar to a scientist examining your inner life. Let's now perform the holding our breath practice once more, but this time through a different lens, the acceptance lens. Be mindful before you start. When you feel the need to breathe, take note of the precise location in your body where it occurs. Is the chest affected? In the abdomen? Around the neck? It is uncomfortable, indeed. However, the true workout is found there. Try to let the feeling be there and simply feel it, rather than fighting it. Not much more. That's going too far with volunteering, experiencing something uncommon without responding. As you hold your breath, observe the thoughts that come to mind. It's time to breathe. This is too much. I can't take it anymore. Rather than arguing with them, simply express gratitude to your mind for sharing, and proceed at your own pace. Who is in charge is still a mystery. You or your mind's automatic impulses? Volunteering teaches you to respond with presence rather than instinct and to allow for feelings, especially those that are difficult. Discomfort frequently draws all attention to itself. But what if there's more going on inside than that? The body experiences several sensations simultaneously. My chest is tight, yet my feet are still touching the floor. The heart beats. Life continues. Therefore, keep your will to hold your breath for a few more seconds. When the pressure builds, try something different. See yourself producing that emotion as though it were intentional, rather than viewing the impulse as something that is encroaching on you. Everything changes when discomfort is transformed into an intentional experience. The mind develops a new understanding. This is here because I chose to feel it. The body experiences the same sensations. Imagine someone who, at the conclusion of a retreat, engaged in a symbolic practice, spending a few minutes in a stuffy, hot room free from distractions. After weeks of emotional preparation, the idea was straightforward: to be there with all that was there, including discomfort, fear, and painful memories. It sounded like a bad idea. This guy, however, conjured up a different image to enable the experience. A lengthy, hot bath, rather than a stuffy environment. Something personal, even reassuring. Slowly, the body began to relax. When I stepped out of the room, the air seemed light. Once tight, the body felt alive, all due to a single decision: to fully and consciously accept the suffering. He tricked his own thinking in this way. I am choosing to feel this heat, he reminded himself, rather than thinking, this is unbearable. Opening yourself up to the experience, even if it was difficult or your body was worn out, was more important than appreciating it. The mental dialogue shifted as a result. This is something I want to live, this is voluntary, replaced the previous statement. I can't take it anymore. It was because there was a reason to stay, not because it was simple. Pretending that everything is okay is not the goal here. However, acknowledging that an emotion is present, whether or not it is comfortable, is not the same as attempting to eliminate it. He spent the whole training day doing it, in ridiculously hot conditions. And something shifted at night following the symbolic session in the tight environment. Even though the temperature outside was still high, nearly 110 degrees, it felt very cool. The corpse was relieved, not because the heat had subsided, but rather because he had chosen to confront a challenge. That's the key. It ceases to seem intolerable when you believe you're causing the experience for a purpose. It's your chance to practice now. A fresh workout starts. A list of reminders will appear on the screen. Hold your breath while you read. Take note of the pain, the ideas, the will. Feel it all, without having to respond. Set the timer, then get started. Breathe deeply, then hold it for a few while. Write down the time when you're done, not because it matters, but to document your experience. Here, the objective was never to last longer, but to feel the need to breathe and decide not to do so right away, okay? How did it go? Have you ever felt the need to flee intensifying within you? Sometimes it manifests as actual pain, and other times it manifests as persistent thoughts. That's nonsense. Why continue? No one will know if I stop. The mind enjoys coming up with reasons. However, this practice shows you that you can remain in the moment even when your entire being wants to run away. The urgency subsides, the pain varies, and eventually, everything becomes clear. This kind of behavior has a significant effect. Because we have a propensity to desire uncomfortable emotions like sadness, anxiety, and frustration to pass fast. But when you learn to remain, you get a unique talent, the capacity to feel without being overwhelmed. More peace is made in the here and now in this way, and greater fortitude to face the next challenge. I appreciate you following along thus far. Be careful. And keep in mind that you're not doing this alone. Share this discussion with someone who might be caught in the similar cycle if it was helpful to you. Additionally, you may subscribe to the channel here if you would want to keep discussing these subjects with me. Be gentle to yourself. And until we meet again.